Hi guys. I would be outside, kind of like your campfire thing, but since I get sick really easily and outside it's kind of cold right now, I really don't want to push it. So let's just pretend like we're outside right now. Just cue in the campfire sounds. There we go, perfect. No one will ever know. So what I do usually on Halloween, I don't really do much. Not a lot of trick-or-treaters actually come around here on Halloween. Just a few. Like last year, I think we only got like 2 or 3. So we don't get that many trick-or-treaters. Last time I dressed up for Halloween was probably 2 years ago. I went to a Halloween party, and I was a vampire. So, yeah. His mouth broke. Oh well, I'm gonna eat him anyways. He's a cookie. I'm gonna eat this damn cookie because he's getting on my nerves. See how it smells weird. It's usually not what you want to hear when you're gonna eat something. I don't know. I don't know what kind of cookie it is. We'll see. What should I eat? His head first? I'll eat his head. No, I'll eat his hand. Now I eat your other hand. He's pretty good. He kind of tastes like a gingerbread or something. I like gingerbreads. I make some bomb gingerbreads, by the way. We'll make some in Christmas. How cute! There's cookie all over my floor. So what I do usually on Halloween is I watch Nightmare Before Christmas. It's part of the tradition, or at least part of my tradition. I just made that up. I don't know. I just love the movie. So I'm probably going to be doing that. Maybe I'll watch a different movie. What's a good scary movie? But not like too scary though. You know, like I like old school type of scary, where you hear noises but you really don't see anything. Where it's more like a psychological thriller type of thing. I like those. I don't like those vampire movies. I think ever since The Lost Boys, vampire movies started to become different. Like they started to change. They used to be a little more, I don't know, not so monstrous. One of the movies that I thought the vampires were really good was Interview with the Vampire. That's how I imagined vampires. Like that. But then, Interview with the Vampire was, of course, it was after Lost Boys, but in Lost Boys, that typical or modern vampire look where they're like freaking monsters, and you're just like, whoa, wait, what? What is that? That just became really popular afterwards. So now I can't watch vampire movies, and I love vampires. I love the concept, but vampire movies they're just really scary for me now. I don't like seeing that stuff. It's that type of image that just sticks in your mind. I'm sorry. Sorries. It's pretty good. I stay away from modern horror films. And zombie films, forget it. I'm not gonna watch no zombie films. I'm not gonna watch no zombie film. What I wanted to talk about today was some of the most scariest moments in my life. I tried to remember more, but I only thought of 4 that really scared the crap out of me. I think the one that I remember from when I was really small, like I was probably like 6 years old, maybe. My family and I, we went to this place called Big Bear, and it's a forest. It's really cool. It's on a mountain, and it's awesome. And we'd go every year. It's been in the tradition for the family that we just go every year. This one time, we went, and everything was awesome. And I have this in my mind like a freaking movie because it scared me so much. We went for a walk, and it was like in the evening, It wasn't dark yet, but it was wanting to get dark. Like it was gonna get dark like in maybe an hour or something like that. And we were walking in the forest. We would stay in a cabin. And this time, the cabin was really deep in the woods. And we usually would get cabins that weren't that deep. But this time, that was the only thing we could get. So we were walking, and my mom was like, okay, let's start going back. But when we turned around, right before we left, we turned around, and there was a freaking wolf. Just standing there, right behind us, and looking at us like it was gonna kill us. But not in like that type of like, ah! Type of look. No, it was like looking, like staring you down, you know, like that. That type of look where they don't even have to say anything. Because, you know, wolves they just start chatting it up before they kill you. No, he didn't even say anything. Yeah. No, it was just staring us down, and we were just froze. We were like, and my dad picked up my little brother, and because he was like 1 or 2, picks him up, and he's like, just start backing up really slow, and he's like, don't run, and the wolf is just like, kind of like creeping up towards us. Oh, that was so scary. And even though we were all, don't run, we all turned and we ran so fast as a family. It was so heartfelt. And I remember that I was so scared that I stuck my fist in my mouth. The whole thing. I was running with my fist in my mouth. That's how scared I was. And none of us wanted to turn around because we were like, oh my god, it's already, like, it's chasing after us and we're gonna die. But no, we stopped, we came close to the cabin, we stopped and we looked, and it probably didn't even follow us. It was probably like, foos! I've had better. Whatever. So it didn't follow us. We were just like, oh my god, we almost had a heart attack. I was so scared. I was crying. It was so scary. Oh my god. And since then I've been terrified of forests. I hate forests. They scare me, and I think it's because of that, because it just scared the crap out of me so much that I guess I just never forgot that. It just stayed with me. So I don't like forests. I don't. And from then on, we would always go to Big Bear again, but I would never want to go for walks. Never. My mom and my dad would be like, "Come on, let's go." I'd be like, "No, I'm staying in the cabin." So I wouldn't even go out. I would just want to stay in the cabin. And I think it's because I don't like to feel lost, but because of that also. I think it just stayed in my mind. Another thing that really scared me, and this, I could say, probably traumatized me when I was a kid. This is something that I was afraid of for a long time. A long time. And it was all thanks to my older brother. He would love to sit in a room like this with the lights off. I mean, I've got a little light right here, but he would like to sit in the room pitch black. And he would tell scary stories. And he would love for me to be there. We would do it with my cousins. They were his age. They were, my brother is 4 or 5 years older than I am. So my cousins were, or one of my cousins was his age, and my other cousin was my age. But he was, you know, I was the chicken of the group. So they loved when I was in the room because they were like, we're going to scare the crap out of her. And they'd always tell scary stories, and I'd be sitting there like, I don't know why I would even follow them. I was an idiot when I was a kid. Not anymore, though. So this one time, my brother starts telling this story. It was called Ty Poe. That story scared the crap out of me. And it still kind of scares me when I remember. That damn story haunted me for so many years. I would go to bed, and I always imagined that Ty Poe was under my bed. Ugh, it would scare the crap out of me. If you guys don't know what Ty Poe is, I would recommend look it up and freaking read the story or something. It was about this creature. That was, I always imagined it. Oh, just imagining it is like scaring me, I swear. I'm not even pretending. I always imagined it kind of like a badger, and it had a big tail, like a beautiful tail. I always imagined it kind of like a squirrel tail, but bigger and like prettier. I swear I'm feeling scared. I'm not even kidding. This old man lived in the forest with his dogs, and he always wanted to catch Ty Poe because of his tail. He wanted the tail. The last time I heard this story, I was a kid, so I don't remember the specifics of the story. That's why I'm telling you to go read it if you want to. Eventually, the guy does find Ty Poe, and he cuts his tail off. He goes to bed, and he's got his covers. You know, he's gonna go to sleep, and then he starts to hear like footsteps, like, you know, creaking. And he's like, what the hell? He's like, got the covers, right? And he starts to hear, Ty Poe. Oh my god, I'm scared. Oh my god, that would scare me so bad. He starts seeing something moving under the covers, like walking up. And he was just like, what the hell? And then it just pops up and is like, Rah! Something like that. But Ty Poe basically gets the guy, and oh, that story was so scary to me. It traumatized me for so many years. I swear I thought Ty Poe was under my bed, like I said. This happened to me when I think I was about 12 years old or 13, something like that. We lived in a different house, in a two-story house. Now this is gonna sound really weird, but it's completely true. I'm not BSing at all. If you want to believe me, then just know that I'm not lying, or I'm not exaggerating. If you don't want to believe me, whatever. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was asleep. But I was starting to wake up because I was gonna have to get up soon for school. So then that means it was probably like 6 a.m. because I would get up like around 7. The point is that it was still kind of dark, but it was the sun was already coming out. And I was just, and where I would sleep, let's say I was laying down, the window was right in front of me, like at my feet, the window. And my window was it was closed. I never opened my window while I was sleeping because it would get cold. Plus, my mom would freaking kill me if I opened the window when I was asleep at night. I had the curtains. My curtains were down. I started to wake up and I was like, I can't go back to sleep. And I started to hear something outside. I started to hear whistling. And I was like, some guy is just walking down the streets and they're whistling. I was like, what? It's 6 a.m. in the morning? What the hell? While I was hearing this whistling, now here's the weird thing, but I swear I'm not lying. And I swear I was awake. I wasn't asleep. The curtains, they start going, and you could hear, it was as if the window was open and a breeze was coming in. Exactly like that. It was as if the window was open and a breeze was going and making the curtains go like that, like if a breeze was pushing them in to the room. That's how it was doing. It was going, and then they would go right back down like nothing, and then they go, and then they go right back down. And I was like, I was so scared I couldn't even, you know that type of scared where you can't talk or you can't scream or anything, where you're just like, ugh. And I didn't know what the hell that was. And it just did it like 2 or 3 times. And while it was happening, I was hearing the whistling, and I was like, and it just stopped. And the whistling stopped. And I was like, what the hell? And I got up really slowly and I looked outside the window and there was nothing there. I was like, what was that? I'll never forget that. That was freaking crazy. That was so weird. And I tried to remember anything that would explain it, and I was like, there's just nothing that could explain it. That was just weird. I have no idea what that was. No idea. My last story happened not long ago, actually. It happened about, I think it happened like 2 years ago. I was coming home from watching a movie with my friend, and it was about 9:30 at night. It was almost 10. And I was driving home, and I was by myself, because we had taken separate cars. I'm driving home, and I come to, right before I come to a stop, about a block away from my house. Right before I come to stop, for some reason, I was like, I locked my doors. For no reason. I was just like, lock the doors. I come to the stop. I stop, and I look over to the left, and this guy is standing there, and he was gonna cross. So I stop, the guy crosses, but he's crossing pretty slow. And I'm just looking at him, and my lights are shining on him. And I'm just like, looking at him, and he's looking right back at me. And he's got his hands in his pockets. And he's just like looking at me, crossing really slow. And I was like, what the hell? And the minute he crosses the right side of my bumper, he's walking, right? And I'm like, what? And he crosses, he passes my car, and he pretends like he's gonna keep walking, but he turns around, and he goes for my side door. Like he like jumps for it. And he grabs my door, my car door. It opens from the bottom, so you have to put your hand down on the bottom and open it like that. And because it was locked, because I had locked it, he just went boom. He tried to open it, but it fell right back down. It didn't open. It just went boom. And I peeled out of there. I mean, my car went. That was so scary. This freaking guy wanted to get into my car. Freaking creep. Oh my god. I was like, and I peeled, and I looked in my rear view mirror, and I could see him in the middle of the street, just standing there looking down at my car. And I was like, and I turned the corner, and I'm like, oh my god, what just happened? It took me so long to actually process what happened. Because I was like, that guy just, he wanted to get into my car. He tried to get into my car. And I was like, what would have happened if I hadn't locked it? And it was just crazy. It was so crazy. I got home and I was shaking. And my mom was like, what happened? What happened? And I told her, and she was like, call the cops. You have to call the cops. Because if he's still there, what if he tries to do it to someone else? So I call the cops, and they patrol the area, and they didn't find anything. They didn't find the guy. That scared the crap out of me. And this happened a freaking block away from my house. And this neighborhood is really, it's a good neighborhood. You never hear about this stuff happening here. So I was just like blown away. I mean, it's that type of thing where you're just like, oh, that will never happen here. Well, it could. I mean, there's freaks everywhere. But the scariest thing, a few days later, I'm driving down that street again, but in the morning. And kids were starting to get out of the high school, because I live near a high school. Or more, I think it was, since it was in the morning, kids were starting to get into class. So they were starting to go to school. I'm driving down the street, and I look to my left, and I see the guy. The same guy. I swear. Oh, that guy, I'm never going to forget that guy. Because I saw him straight out when he was crossing the front of my car. My lights were shining on him. I remember everything he was wearing. He was wearing a hat, a blue hoodie. I remember his face, everything. And I see him walking up the street and just looking at the high school while he's walking. And I was like, oh my god, it's that guy. But the craziest thing was that I would see him. I saw him like maybe 4 or 5 times. And all he would do was walk up across the street from the high school, walk up the street, and then he'd hit that stop where he crossed the street to get into my car, that stop, and then he'd go right back down. He would never go anywhere. He would just walk up, and then he'd go right back down. And then that was it. And I was like, what the hell is he doing? This guy was a creep. He was a creep. I mean, for him to be staking out the freaking high school while kids are going in, that, ugh. I never knew what to do. I mean, I was like, what the hell do I do? I tried to call, I called the police again, but, I mean, they weren't going to get the guy. They weren't going to find him. It was already like, they patrolled. They never found him. And that was it. And then I stopped seeing him. Yeah, those are my scary stories for Halloween. Those were the ones that definitely stuck with me, though. The ones that when I talk about them, I still feel that, you know, kind of like your heart rate starts to increase. Share some with me. I mean, it's freaking Halloween. If you want to just say what you're afraid of, whatever. The ghost is dead. So all you guys have a happy Halloween. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bwahahaha.